Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today I'm going to make a low compact arrangement in a dough bowl. So these are small dough bowls. It's actually kind of a little bread tray that we have here at our shop, and I am going to make a really pretty arrangement in this. I'm going to start out, this is wooden, so we do want to protect the wood from our fresh floral foam. So I'm going to start out using a piece of, this is foil paper that we use a lot here in floral design. This foil paper comes on the roll, and it actually comes in lots of colors. For years and years we used to wrap all of our plants with foil paper, but we don't do that quite as much as we used to. We usually put plants in baskets now, but I like to have foil paper on hand to line containers because it protects the container, it keeps things from leaking, all those types of things. So foil paper is really, really nice. I'm going to drop that in my drawer here. I'm going to take my foil paper and just lay it right there into my container, and I'm going to kind of roll it down and fit it right down into that container. And you can see I've just laid it right in there. I'm going to fold down the edges because I don't want the edges to show. So it's important that we try to cover up those mechanics. And we will with some pretty mixed greenery, so it won't be a big deal. And the wonderful part is it's green, so it is camouflaged really well. Next, I'm going to take a piece of soaked floral foam, and I'm going to set it right into this container. And then I'm going to take a second piece and I'm going to cut it in half. I don't need the whole piece of foam. I'm just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to set it right over into that little container. I'm just going to set my extra piece right back into my bucket with water. It's important when you use floral foam, if you're not going to use all of the foam that you have soaked, if you'll take that piece and drop it back in a reservoir of water, you can use it for, days later. As long as it stays hydrated, you're good to go. So I'm going to take some clear design tape. Now, you don't often see me work with clear design tape because I don't always have it here at the shop. You see us work more often with a waterproof tape, but this clear design tape is going to not show up as much on my container. So I am going to take this tape and I'm going to catch it on that edge, and I'm actually going to come all the way around with that tape. And I'm just going to use my scissors and cut it. Now what this is going to do is it is going to hold my foam in place. Now I don't foresee them walking around turning this over, but if in case it did get tumble or got turned to the side, the flowers aren't going to fall apart, okay? So mechanics are going to be, in my personal opinion, mechanics are the most important part about a flower arrangement. Mechanics are, again, the most important part. You can work so hard and have the most beautiful design and it be amazing, but if the flower arrangement falls apart, what do you have? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some greenery to our container. The greenery we're going to use today is called lemon leaf or salal. Now, lemon leaf is another foliage I don't use very often, but we got some in this week, and so I am just going to use it, which it's so pretty, and I'm not sure why I don't use it as much. It is a very pretty foliage. I think it's a little harder for me to use. It kind of it grows in an awkward way, and so it's not always the easiest foliage to use. actually drop it in a bucket right here. And we'll add the rest of our greenery at the end. First, we're going to come in with these beautiful blue hydrangeas. We don't get them very often. Thank you, ma'am. We don't get them very often because I usually get white hydrangeas, and if we want it blue, we'll paint it. But it is fun to get blue ones because it guarantees you're going to use them blue. I'm going to take my floral knife. I removed some of that foliage. I took my floral knife, cut that at an angle, and I'm going to dip it in quick dip. Now this weekend, I had the opportunity to help a friend with wedding flowers. She owns a catering and floral business, and she needed a little help. And so I was so excited to go and help her because you can learn so much when you go and see how other people do things. She does not carry quick dip, but she did have alum. And y'all, alum works wonderful. So don't feel like you have to purchase floral dip because alum goes a really long way and it works wonderful because those we did not have one hydrangea go down that entire weekend. So that was fun. It was kind of neat to see, especially since I don't work with that very often. So I'm removing these petals, the leaves. I'm taking that floral knife, cutting that stem at an angle. And tucking that right in. Now, it does look like 3 little Easter eggs tucked in, but no worries, I've got lots of other flowers that we're going to tuck in. The next flower we're going to use are these beautiful green hydrangeas. So these are called mini green hydrangeas. Now let me tell you a little bit about a mini green. It's a standard hydrangea that's just in bud state. And so they've cut these little baby hydrangeas and left them in their bud state, and we call those mini greens. But they're kind of fun. The longer you keep them, the more they'll open up and you get to see how pretty and how pretty their petals become. It's kind of neat to see that you can cut them in bud state and it looks like a completely different flower, right? So I'm taking each of those and I'm dipping them in that quick dip, and I'm just pressing that right over into that fresh floral foam. Now this is going to be pretty all the way around, so you can see that I'm putting flowers on both sides of this arrangement. All right, there's our hydrangeas. The next flowers we're going to use are going to be Alstroemeria lilies. So look at these, y'all. Look at these beautiful hot pink astros. Alstroemeria lilies are also called Peruvian lilies. Now, astros are long lasting and they come in, I would almost say, every color in the rainbow. They come in yellows and pinks and reds and whites. So many pretty colors. So I'm just taking those astros and I'm cutting that stem at an angle, and I'm just pressing that right down into that foam. Another wonderful thing about an Alstroemeria lily is it's long lasting. It will last so long, and that's always nice, especially if you're going to send something to the hospital or as a gift. It's always nice to have an array of flowers and have some that are longer lasting and some that are fancier but shorter lived. But I always like to add something that lasts a good long time. All right, so there's our astros. I'm going to turn this arrangement around so that you can see the other side. You can see that I'm making it pretty all the way around. Okay, next we're going to come in. Let's see what's next. We do have some beautiful Gerbera daisies that are very large and showy. She loved these beautiful orange Gerberas. She wanted tons of color, so we're going to come in with these orange gerbs. I'm going to take this, this is a little straw that they often put on a Gerbera daisy to keep their little heads straight up. But I don't like the chartreuse green. See how green that is? It just shows up so, So I'm going to take a wire and I'm going to press it into the disc of that head of that gerb, and I'm just going to take it and go all the way around that stem. I'm going to take my floral knife, cut that stem at an angle, and I'm just going to press him right down in that floral foam. Look at that happy guy. See how happy he is? I'm going to take my second bloom, take a piece of wire. I'm going to press it,
That's probably the one.
and I'm going to tuck him in. Now, anytime you do an arrangement in foam like this, you need to be sure to tell the customer to water it daily. What happens very often is people forget to water them. So be sure to remind the customer to water it daily so that it'll last longer. All right, so look how fun those gerbras are. Next, we're going to come in with these beautiful sunflowers, happy yellow sunflowers. So again, she just wanted sunny sun. She wanted it bright and pretty and fun. So we're going to just mix in some of these sunflowers. So I'm just taking each of these stems, cutting them at an angle. I am going to wire him because he's kind of bending his head a little bit. So I'm going to take and add a little touch of wire to him to get him to stand up a little bit. Sometimes that wire just helps you to manipulate him, manipulate his head just a smidge. You can't be too rough with him because you will break his stem. Look how happy those sunflowers are. I think a sunflower makes any arrangement happier. I don't know about you, but a sunflower does make arrangements happy. Okay, so there's our pretty sunflowers. Next we're going to come in with, let's see, we've got some beautiful orangey colored roses. I don't know the name of this variety, but y'all, look at these. They are so pretty. They almost have a yellowish tint to them. So it's a lighter orange. It's not quite so deep orange, but when you pull the petals back, look at this. Look how reddish it is under those petals. So when it opens, it gets really, really deeper orange. So, so pretty. So I am going to take these guys. I am not going to wire their heads because I'm going to cut them really short. I'm going to take him and cut him pretty short. I'm just going to nestle him right down into this arrangement. I don't think you can ever go wrong with tons of color. I think color is so pretty, and color just makes me feel good. I don't know about you guys. All right. So there are our roses. It's so vibrant. Okay, so there's our roses. Next we're going to come in with some, let's see. Let's come in. We've got some plum colored buttons. We've got some Veronica, beautiful pink Veronica. We've got some ranunculus, orange colored ranunculus, and then we've got some solidago. So I'm going to take my solidago and I'm actually going to break it. Oh, let's wait on our solidago. Let's come in with our ranunculus next. Now with our ranunculus, I'm going to pull off the foliage. Just pull it off. It doesn't smell. I wondered if it had a fragrance to it, but it doesn't. I'm going to take my floral knife, and this has a couple of buds also. So I'm going to pull those buds off, and we're going to use those separately. I'm going to cut that stem at an angle. Now I'm going to leave him sticking up a little bit in this arrangement. And that way it's going to give us a little more movement. Look at those buds. They are so fun. Anytime you have a flower that has buds, go ahead and use those in that arrangement. It gives a lot of movement. It's just fun to use. Cut that stem at an angle. Press him right down in that floral foam. Just a little limber. The wonderful part about ranunculus is after they've warmed up a bit, they are going to open up. They're going to get much larger. And they're so pretty. Gosh, they're a pretty flower. And they come in so many colors too. They're also one of those flowers that comes in lots of color, which is fun. So again, I'm just taking each of those stems and I'm cutting those at an angle. And I'm pressing them right over into this floral foam. And you can see I'm leaving them a little longer. I do like that they have a little bit of, they almost look, it's like it's a little garden, don't they? Okay, so there's our ranunculus. Next we're going to come in with our beautiful Veronica. So Veronica comes, it's another one of those flowers that comes in lots of colors. But look at it, it's the most fun little delicate, almost a little line flower. We're going to do the same as we did with our ranunculus. We're going to leave them a little longer and kind of tuck those, give us a little bit of height and a little bit of movement. It looks so gardeny with them. And so you can see I'm just cutting them at an angle and I'm just going throughout this arrangement. And I just broke that stem, but that's okay. I'm just going here and there throughout the arrangement. I just want it to look like just a beautiful little gardeny arrangement. All right, next we're going to come in with our little buttons. Now let me show you what I like to do with a button. I just got a splash of water on my glasses. I like to take these buttons and break them apart and use them individually in an arrangement. And I like to do that because then you can spread this color out throughout the arrangement. So if they're long enough, if their little stems are long enough, just pop those off and then just tuck them here and there. And that way you can sprinkle them throughout, just like we did the greenery. When you feel like it's too large to go in as it is, but it's kind of the same. You're just going to take them apart and use them here and there. I love that pretty plum tucked in there with all these bright sunshiny colors. Plum is so pretty. Now button mums come in tons of colors too. Not reds. I've never seen a button kind of in a red tone, but they do come in a green and a yellow and a white. A lavender, but pretty colors. And I love the texture. It's just a different shape, a different texture. Okay, I'm going to turn it around, let you see this side. But look at all this color. Color, doesn't it? It looks like a garden, doesn't it? Lastly, with the flowers, we're going to add just a hint of solidago. And I want you to go all the way around this arrangement and I want you to make sure that you get those edges well. You don't want to see any of the foam showing. So be sure that you're going to take your greenery or your filler flower and you're going to nestle it into any space that might show the mechanics, okay? And let me also say, it's okay if you have negative space. It's okay not to have one or two spots that don't have flowers and it's a dark spot. It's not hurting anything. Negative space is okay. Okay, so the very last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some pretty greenery to our flower arrangement. And our greenery is going to include some foliage that I cut out of the yard that I don't know the name of. So if someone happens to know the name of this foliage, please let us know. But it grows every year. It usually dies back in the winter time, but it grows back in the spring and it will stay pretty all summer long and it holds up beautifully in flower arrangements. Right now it's kind of a lighter green with its new growth. But it'll darken up some, not very much, but it'll darken up some. But it reminds me a lot of privet. But privet doesn't often hold up in water. Like if you cut a privet, it doesn't usually hold up beautifully in a floral arrangement, but this really does. And it holds up in foam. We've never had any issues. Now, anytime you go out and harvest foliage from your yard, let me tell you how you're going to figure out if it's going to work in your flower arrangements. Cut it and put it in a vase. See how it holds up in a vase arrangement. if it holds up beautifully in a vase arrangement, you can also take it and just lay it on your table. Watch it. See if it would hold up out of water for any amount of time. If it holds up out of water, then you could use it for flowers to wear or flowers to carry. Things that don't always have a water source, like flowers to wear never have a water source, right? So you can always test it and see if it's something that will hold up. You also need to make sure that it's not a foliage that people are often allergic to, okay? Do check that. Make sure that you do your research and check that. But this little foliage makes me happy. It's just kind of a beautiful spring foliage. But look how pretty this arrangement looks. And this foliage really just finishes it off. It just gives it a little bit of movement, that pretty light green color. And the best part is it's free. It's in my yard. So that's even better. All right, guys, so there is a beautiful dough bowl arrangement, perfect for a table or a coffee table. Just a lovely display and a lovely gift. The nice part is that we've put it in a container that can be used again. So when the flowers are gone, they can certainly use this container for something else. And I think that's always fun, to put an arrangement in a container that's not necessarily meant for flowers. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about how we do things at the flower shop, you can always ask. You can drop that here in the comments, send us an email, or visit us over on Facebook and put it in the messages there. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you have not already subscribed to our channel, hit that little subscribe button down below. And if you hit that bell, it'll give you notifications for when we have a new video. Guys, have a great day. We'll see you soon.